Oh, we're starting.
Action. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cut this can off. It's still attached to the chassis. I put this piece of paper here because there's a lot of aluminum chips and stuff that fly everywhere in this process. This just makes the cleanup easier. So this, I should be able to just go straight in and cut this cap. It makes a little bit of noise, so bear with me. Reposition here. I'll try to make sure. Okay, so here we are. This has been cut off. This is what's left over. And what I'll do next is I'll just drill holes down alongside these poles. These are 4 little connections. So each one of these is a positive lead of a capacitor, and the negative lead will go down and connect to a tab. And when it's all said and done, this just goes back on it. And I'll put a little bit of silicone glue to hold it on so it won't fall off. I won't even bother to put this back in. I'm not one of these people who keeps these things. There's no reason for it. And this covers it nicely. That'll be that. And then we'll be ready to go to the next step. Anyway, more to come. Thank you. As is usually the case, I don't stop till it's done. I'll recap the work I did. Replaced the there was an across the line cap here. That's a Y rated AC cap. There was a bumblebee here. That was I think it was a screen bypass. It had like 90 volts on it or something like that. It was leaking like crazy, so I replaced it. It was an 033. The rest of these, I checked this drive, this electrolytic. It tested fine. The rest of these caps, these bumblebees, I'm not too worried about. They either have very low voltage or no voltage across them at all. The selenium I left alone. It's fine. By fine, I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. The only thing I did, well, there was a little bumblebee here. I think that's the one that connects the B minus to the chassis ground. It was leaky. Let's see. Actually, was it leaky or did it break? It broke. It broke off in the process. I've got the electrolytics all put back in. If I showed that on the last video, let me demo that real quick here. Here's a can. Don't fall. This is what I'm talking about. So you got the 4 electrolytics. I just drill holes. I actually drill them from the bottom up. It's easier to locate the holes that way. You know exactly where you want them to get the leads to come through. Hold on for a second. I'll reposition this thing. What I'm doing now, what I'm in the process of doing now, is I just do a voltage check. So what we do is we set up the AC voltage to 117 volts. So let me just bear with me for almost a second, please. Alright, well, here's the line goes there, and the other side of the line connects up to the selenium. I'll hook this up to my meter, pardon me. And what I'd like to do is, since the schematic tells you 117 volts AC for all the voltage readings in here, so I've got that hooked up. I got my meter turned on, got it set to AC, and we'll turn this stuff on. Plug it back in. Excuse me for a second. Nothing like a plan, right? Okay, turn it on. Okay, I'm getting 117 volts. I got the Variac set to that. Turn on the power.
Mess up. I mean, it really is. It's very simple.
Right.
It's very guided.
This is without the loop antenna attached too, by the way.
It's a fancy game of follow the leader.
I'm just dialing through the broadcast.
Just surviving. No kidding.
So
weird. How are you?
sounds really good.
But I heard about your mom.
The thing I'll do is to verify this is I looked at the battery. I'm supposed to have 105 volts B+. So we'll go, the B+ output is right here. Alright. Alright, 104.5, or that's pretty darn close to 105. Let's see what the schematic says here. Okay, that's just reading right over here, 105 volts at that point, which is the output from that sand resistor. The next thing I'll do is I'll take a look at the plate of the audio out. So let's go over to that. Plate of the audio out is this red lead right here. 95, 94.3. It's supposed to be 94. And we're pretty much right on that. I'll go ahead and check the only other one I'm really interested in is the screen of the converter. Oh, that was a resistor. I forgot to mention that. Right here. Let me get my pointer. This resistor was bad because it's 68K. Bad, it was 83K. Did I have to replace it? No, it would have been fine, but it was the converter, and the L3, the 1L6 I had wouldn't work, and I was hoping maybe I haven't tested it with the new resistor in. It came up, the screen voltage came up a little bit. When I put it at 68K instead of the 83, I was hoping maybe it might be boosted just enough to make it oscillate and work, because it wasn't oscillating basically. You could just hear it. So let's see what we are. Here's now that one's supposed to be 45 volts, I think. 42. Well, let me see. That says 42 volts. According to this thing, my eyes aren't that good. I think it says 45 volts, but I'm not sure. But that was a little bit lower. I mean, it only came up. That came up maybe 3 volts. It wasn't much of a change. So, like I said, I don't really think it was necessary to do it, but you know, whatever, big deal. And that's it. The selenium. So, and the idea now is, based on the 117 volts and the fact that I'm getting 105 volts right where it's supposed to be, and this thing isn't getting hot, selenium's fine. I'm not going to replace it. I got to put a diode in there. I got to figure out a way to wire it up. I got to put a drop-in resistor, all that kind of nonsense. Just not needed. These are all tone control resistors.
Going to my mom's house. I have a lot to do. Okay, good. Just don't obsess about it, alright?
I'm not sure what they all do.
Me?
So, anyway, was there anything else in here? Oh, I went through and I checked the voltages across these caps with the, you know, with the power up. I think I mentioned that in the other video. So I think we're good to go. Anyway, I'm going to button it all back up here in a few minutes and should put a wrap on this. I did check some of the other bands. I have to put all the antennas back up. The other bands were definitely working. That is, I could get some signals through. This is a beautiful, beautiful Zenith 1L6. I mean, it's just gorgeous, right? Doesn't work. I'll try this in another Transoceanic to see if it still doesn't work. I'll put it back in this. I'll try it. Still doesn't work, then I'll relegate this one to the junk heap. You know, I don't want some poor sucker to think he's getting a deal when he sees a 1L6 and it's not a good one. So, yeah, I don't know. Fortunately, I happened to have one laying around, so it was no big deal. Alright. Almost done. Okay. All done. Back together. I have it plugged in. Let's try it.
The book.
Here we go.
We kind of went back and forth on.
Okay, this is a broadcast band.
Subtitle, which admittedly is very important to say what the book's about, the complete history of presidential drinking. We had
Volume doesn't go all the way down, but oh well.
Titles like that to begin with, but we.
Back for active veterans or retirees. Offer.
AM band is garbage here in South Florida.
Minutes to go. So I gotta get to Greg Berg.
Man, that's pretty much typical of the music we get here. Dig it. Yeah, rock and roll.
Man knew what was in man, and he knew Judas from the very.
Claro que se ha convertido en un altar.
Talk.
Todavía las líneas están llenas.
Extra tough jobs, take it to the max. With Sanacrete Max.
Easy. Your child will always.
Yeah, the problem I have is like there's no music. Whatever happened to Casey Kasem, you know? America's Top 40. Anyway, that's broadcast band. There's all kinds of. We'll get the antenna popped here. Or just rotate that a little bit. That thing pops up. I'm sure it's receiving something. The problem is just nothing to pick up. Trying to expand that. I actually had some music here a few minutes ago. It's 19 meters, I think. Yeah. If the oscillator wasn't running, you would hear no background noise. Sounds like French to me. Oops, sorry. Meters pretty active. I don't know that much about shortwave. Anyway, let's go back on the broadcast band.
He also likes some late night martinis.
Ah, okay. Well, with that, on that note, we are going to have to call a halt to the proceedings here, but what a delightful
A little
book.
bit of attenuation.
Mark Will Weber, 5 stars from here for this. Probably some stories that some of the presidents would sooner have never gotten out, but they are fact. Mint Juleps with Teddy Roosevelt, the complete history of presidential drinking. It is from our friends at Regnery History, and it's available at all the fine bookstores around the state of Florida and places like Amazon.com. A wonderful coffee table type book. Pick it up, give it a read, have some fun, astound your friends or fellow workers around the water cooler with the stories of the
anyway, unfortunately, this does not work still. That's the way it is. But everything else seems to be functional. I'll call this a success.
Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Earth is the only place with life on it.
I got one of these days. I'll build up a battery pack for it. Take it out away from the bright lights of the city. Did I leave that thing on? Oh, dope. Sorry. And there you have it. I'll try to hook up that wave magnet thing and do a little work on it. Get those suction cups rejuvenated.